having the most success I've ever had in my life, most money I've ever had in my life, and still having those panic attacks.
I got a question for you. Do you think that as you level up, the thoughts, the anxiety, and everything, at some point, did you think that it would go down based off certain level, like the level that, like, you just started in entrepreneurship, you started the creating, but it doesn't all make sense. It seems like all doesn't work. Yo, when I get successful, when I get to a certain point, this is all going to make sense and everything. Like, did you ever think that way?
Yeah, I did think it was going to be a microwave instant solution. That the minute I get a lot of money, I'm going to instantly be happy. I just associated the two things together and I future dated it. So it was, oh, it's okay to suffer now because I'm not where I want to be yet. But when I get to where I want to be, it's okay. Everything will be okay. And that's not the truth. It's a gradual growth, and whatever you don't focus on doesn't fix itself. So you have to dedicate time to working on your mental health if you're going to become more successful or more financially stable and have a good relationship with yourself. You're not just going to achieve massive wealth and automatically have great mindset, mental health, or self-relation. Like, it just doesn't happen that way. It's a gradual growth. So that's a lesson that I think I had to learn. And I'm glad I learned it early as it relates to money, because I don't have any financial goals that are strictly dependent upon money. Now, I look at money, I mentioned it as a scoreboard because I'm a data person. I like numbers. It's easier to measure something that you're a part of when you look at data, right? Rather than a feeling. Like, it's harder to measure a feeling. So I'm glad I learned that lesson. Oh yeah, get to this amount of money, I'm gonna be great. And then I got there and I was like, where's the celebration? Like, where's the horns? It's just like, there's nothing that happens. Absolutely nothing changes. And that's a good lesson to learn. It's a hard lesson to learn, but it's a good lesson to learn to get it out the way early. Because for most of us, whatever number we place to be a big amount of money, it usually isn't.
That's a fact.
Whether that's 10,000 or 5,000, it's like, it usually is not that much money in the grand scheme of things when we live in a country like America and there are companies that are worth $1 trillion. It's crazy.
Just sounds depressing listening to it. But so I asked that because Charlemagne the God was on The Pivot. And, you know, for those who don't know Charlemagne the God, he is one of the hosts of The Breakfast Club. And The Breakfast Club, I mean, Hall of Fame, Radio Hall of Fame, millions and millions of views on a weekly basis, syndicated. And so he talked about, you know, even with success, there still was the mental health issues.
Having the most success I've ever had in my life, most money I've ever had in my life, and still having those panic attacks. You know what I'm saying? Still dealing with the bout of depression on top of just really not living right, you know? Out here drinking, smoking, living the radio star life, cheating on my wife 100 miles per hour, and I'm literally becoming everything that I always said I didn't want to be. I just realized, man, as I got older, I'm like, yo, I'm really about to ruin my life. Like, real self-sabotage, you know, for no reason other than I haven't gone to get any type of healing.
So this is loaded because for me, of course, when you first start, it's like, okay, like I said, it gets better, right? It gets better. Everybody on the top looks happy. You know what I mean? Everybody on the top looks happy. Looks are deceiving. Now we have to put an account that you are now responsible of not just yourself, but other people and how food is put on their tables, right? You are responsible of now bigger audience that is relying on you about your views, about your thoughts, and helping them get to the next level. With more money, you have more tax problems. Okay?
Talk about it.
All right? State that. And
Sounds like
so
a real life experience right
it's
there.
a real life experience. It's just horrible. But but you know, I instantly thinking about, okay, going from the paycheck to paycheck situation to now, okay, this is a lot more problems than I expected. This is a lot more responsibilities than I actually wanted, which could take a toll. It doesn't, and personally for me, this is why I had to figure out a routine for myself. This is why I had to tap into therapy once a month. Now, I'm not saying everybody go to therapy, and I actually want to talk about, I should have talked about it more in the Taraji P situation of the myth of us minorities going and getting help. You tapped on it a bit, but I'll circle back to it. But I would just want to get rid of how I'm realizing with this episode. I think we're debunking myths with some of these mental health situations of like, all right, we have to be strong. No, we don't. Like, okay, now success, right? No, that doesn't help anything. Unless you are whole in the beginning, like, or during it, like success isn't going to change how you feel or think. It just adds on to something that you haven't healed from in the beginning. If you get overwhelmed easily, you think success is going to take away that overwhelmness? No. It may mask it for a little bit. That one thing that you were seeking, like for me, I would seek a certain amount of money. Great. Cool. I got it. But it doesn't break down all the stuff that comes with it. Right? And so I just wanted to show from like a tangible thing that, and we've seen it time and time again where I've met successful people who are just not happy. And I thought that was crazy until I reached a certain level. I don't think I'm successful. So let's just get this right. There's a certain level, right? When I look at their success, but when I've reached a certain level, I'm like, oh, I can understand why they're sad. It's lonely. I can understand why they're sad. You feel misunderstood. I can get why they're sad. Only a certain amount of people can understand what you're doing from a personal standpoint, right? From a business standpoint, you may get other, but from a personal standpoint, hardly anybody understands that joint unless you were just so focused on this new circle that you have. Let's look about the past and the people you rocked with, and they're nowhere understanding of why are you doing that? Why are you like, oh, you big time now. What? No, you have a podcast now. To some people, a podcast is a really big thing. You feel me?
Right,
You got a podcast now. Tuh.
Yeah.
I'm like, what? I'm like, really doing this from my crib? What are you talking about?
Right.
Like, nah, you big time. You got the podcast.
Wait, let's talk about that though. No, hold on. You just actually sparked something.
Go ahead.
I cannot stand people who try to penalize you for your growth and your success. You talk about like mental health abuse. Can we stop that? Can we stop trying to make people feel bad for getting better, for working on themselves, for achieving more success in their careers or in their finances or for acquiring nice things? Like,
but that goes back to you got that little job. You got that little business. You got that.
Yeah, it's like gaslighting or something. I don't know. Yeah, I can't stand either way. Whether you try to make them feel bad for them being grateful or for enjoying what they work so hard to achieve, or you try to minimize it to make it seem as though it's not a big deal because maybe it makes your level feel a little bit uncomfortable when compared to theirs. It's like, can we just stop that as a community? Can we just stop using that level of insecurity as a mask of, however which way you spin it, like it's equally bad. I just thought about this. You said, I'm like, oh, can we stop? Like, yo, congrats on your podcast. Big or small, big, small, or indifferent. That's what's up. You seem like you're really enjoying it. Keep going. Can we do that instead of the other one? Because, I don't know. I've never heard someone say that. So I feel like that needed to be said.